after 7 straight losses and the Chicago Bulls' second losing streak of 5 games or more on this young season already, we got to have some real tough conversations. And it's not just about effort. It's not just about coaching. And it's not just about one player. We're also going to debunk some bad narratives around the Chicago Bulls, namely around Coby White and where his place is in the Chicago Bulls slide, because it's not just on Coby White, and it's not because of Coby White. Not to say he's not part of the problem like every Bulls player is, but it's not just on him. So we're going to be talking about talent gaps, missed opportunities, questionable philosophies by the Bulls front office, and why this version of the team may have hit their ceiling long before the front office was hoping to. We're going to have a very deep episode today, and we're going to get into it all and more right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go get into this content today, y'all. And I want to start it off with this, right? Like always, when the Bulls struggle, and there are lazy narratives that develop from fans, from other people, even from the national media at times. But this time I want to focus on some of the lazy narrative happening from Bulls fans, right? And that is namely, and I've seen a number of comments over the last week or so that, oh my God, the Bulls losing streak, it's because of Coby White. The Bulls are struggling because of Coby. This is on Coby White, bringing him back to the team. And that couldn't be further from the truth. And I think the thing of where we first need to have this conversation is the thing that's objective, right? We need to take a look at the numbers. Now, and like I said in the intro, I want to make it clear. In no way am I saying that Coby White is not part of the problem. This isn't something to say, hey, everybody's struggling right now, but Coby's playing great. No. The problem is systemic. It's not just based off one player, right? And I want to first I want to debunk the narrative, and then I want to talk about some of the things that actually are going on with this team, right? So the first thing, people that are saying that this losing streak is because of Coby White or we're struggling because of Coby, I need you guys to look at objective facts. With Coby White on the court, right, the Bulls, and this was before last night's game because last night a 30-point loss is going to hurt everybody's numbers, but we're going to get into the overall numbers too, right? Before last night, in the 6 games that Coby White had played, right, the Bulls were plus 22 when Coby White was on the court. They had a net rating of plus 7.2. They had an offensive rating of 124, which would put you at near elite, and a defensive rating of 117, which the Bulls' defensive rating on the season is 1, meaning that the Bulls, overall, their numbers were basically the same with Coby White. As far they got better offensively, but the defense didn't drop off as much as people are trying to say or thought that it would with Coby White, back into the rotation and back into the lineup, right? So that's the thing there, right? And then when we need to look at the individual, keep in mind the Bulls have a defensive rating of 118 on the season, but with Coby White on the court, it's 117. So let's just be clear there, right? Now, with that said, after last night's game, it dropped down to 117, so you have to, take that into consideration. We're not going to leave those numbers out. The Bulls right now are scoring 8.9 points more per 100 possessions when Coby White is on the court, right? That puts him in the 91st percentile as well as far as players with that impact. Coby White has an estimated wins added of 13, which that's not one of those stats you can kind of hold to true, right? With that said, now the Bulls are bad defensively, and they've been worse defensively when Coby White's on the court. But when you look at the margins, like I said, a 118 defensive rating versus a 117 defensive rating, it's basically stayed the same. Outside of those numbers, right? Let's just talk about, because people like to say, oh, Coby's not going to fit in the flow of the offense, acting like he's like Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan or something. When Coby White's actually on the court, right, the Chicago Bulls' assist percentage goes up by almost 3%. Their turnover percentage almost drops by 2%, right? And these are, again, objective facts. We're not, this isn't anything that can be miscued or miscalculated. These are objective facts that anybody can go out there and look at and try to evaluate if you want to be have an honest conversation about where things are right now, right? And again, for some people, it's difficult to have that conversation because they're so caught up in narratives and wanting to be right? The Bulls right now, as it stands on the season, are net zero when Coby White's on the court, meaning that they aren't positive, they aren't negative. but they're -6 on the season when he's off the court, right? So again, these are just looking at the objective facts of things. The Bulls are struggling right now, but their struggles aren't just because of Coby White. It's just not. And that's just the reality of it, right? We can talk about what is plaguing the Bulls, and we will get into that. But the reality of the situation is that this Bulls team was struggling before Coby. They've been struggling without Coby on the court, and they've been struggling with Coby White on the court, right? And that's just the thing. That's why I like to look at the overall numbers. Over the last 20 games, the Bulls have a defensive rating of 120 and an offensive rating of 113. Again, they are better offensively on the court. We already knew this team was not going to be a great defensive team, so I don't know why people expect that, right? So again, can Coby be better? Can Coby fight over screens? Yes. Does Coby need to stop taking bad threes? Absolutely. And these are part of the problems that go into what you have when you have Coby White, right? But again, the Bulls go from a net 0 to a net -7. And this isn't plus minus, this is net. That's a little bit different of -6 when Coby White's off the court. When Coby White's off the court as well, the offensive rating drops to 111. That puts you in the same range of teams like the Washington Wizards, right? Some of the worst teams in the NBA. And like I said, the defensive rating is about the same, 117.9 with Coby White off the court, and with him on the court, it was, before last night's game, it was a 117. Now, after last night's game, it's a 121. And so there you go on that one. The offensive rating is still a 121 when he's on the court as well. But these things get better. Assist percentage goes up considerably when Coby White's on the court than off the court. From 66% assist percentage without Coby on the court to 74% assist percentage when Coby's on the court. The Bulls' turnover percentage is 14 with Coby White on the court. With Coby White off the court is nearly 16%. So again, you're passing the ball better. Your turnovers are going down. Coby White can fit in the flow of the offense. So let's just eliminate that question now. The question of if Coby can fit in the Bulls offense, there's no doubt he fits. He's not this thing that fits outside of it, or it's ruined because of him being there. That's just not reality. That's just not facts, right? Now, that again, but that's not to say that Coby White does not have some things that he can improve on to make it even better, as everybody can on this Bulls team. Settling for bad threes has been Coby's thing since he's come back. It's not. Yes, he's averaging 22 points, 5 assists, almost 3 rebounds, shooting 43% from the field, which isn't great, right? 43% is his lowest number since the 2021-22 season. You need to get back up towards 45%. He's shooting 30% from 3 after 37% last year and 37.6% the year before that, then 37 and 38%. This is the lowest three-point shooting percentage of Coby White's career so far. He's never shot lower than 35% until this season so far. Again, 7 games. He's coming back from injury. Hopefully that can come around, but he has to get better than that. Coby White's turnovers as well. 3 turnovers per game, even though the Bulls as a team are averaging less turnovers when he's on the court. But the assist-to-turnover ratio is pretty decent at almost 6 assists and 3 turnovers, but still, you want that to be better. Getting to the free throw line as well. This is one of the things that I did say that I wanted to see from Coby. He's almost doubled that, right? Coby White, the most free throws he's ever averaged was 4.1. That was last season. So far this season, he's averaging 8 free throws per game in his 7 games back so far, that's really good if he maintains that for the full season. He's shooting at an 80% clip, though. I need that to be more 90%. You got to be 90% with the way and volume Coby has the ball. But with that said, now that we've eliminated the stupid question that people have on trying to blame Coby White on being the only reason why the Bulls are struggling. And again, I know that's not the majority of Bulls fans. I know that's a vocal community of people who just don't really actually process basketball, so they go with the easiest statement and take rather than actually process and look at the game. So with that said, what is hurting this Bulls team, right? And I'm getting to the point now, and this isn't to sensationalize, this isn't to try to make some story. This is because I really do think there has to be something going on in the locker room or going on behind the scenes that we aren't privy to. And the reason why I say that is because every bit of the effort is gone. Every bit of the connectivity with this team is gone. And I don't know if that's just a Billy Donovan thing. I don't know if that's something else that happened. I don't even think it's just a Nikola Vucevic thing either. There's something with this team that when they are on the court together now, they just don't seem like they like playing with each other anymore. And that was something that dating back to the end of last season, right? That was something that really felt special about this team, is that this team really did seem like it enjoyed playing the game of basketball together. Now, not so much. Now, it's starting to be one of those things that you look at and you're just like, what happened to this franchise? What happened to this team? What is going on to make this team this bad, this consistently, and seem like they just don't give a fuck? That's what we have to uncover here, right? And this is why, like, I've been very boisterous in the sense that I just think that it's time to move on. Regardless of how you feel about Billy Donovan, whether he's right, wrong, whether you view him as a great coach, a bad coach, however you view him, it's time to move on. You've had one winning record in Billy Donovan's history here as the head coach. One. And that's just not going to cut it for a coach that's been in place. Now, I know a lot of Bulls fans are going to say, but Haize, they just signed Billy Donovan to an extension. And you're right. But this was the same team that fired Jim Boylan after an extension. They fired Fred Hoiberg, I think, with 2 more years left on his deal. They fired Tibbs with time left on his deal. We have been that team at a time. Like, there was at one point in this time, the standard of this team is that we fired a coach in Tom Thibodeau that got this Bulls team to the playoffs every single year, even without their MVP Derrick Rose being on the court. And now we have drastically attached ourselves to a coach that has us locked into mediocrity. And that's the part of the problem here, right? Now, yes, there is a problem as far as talent level, right? People have made a lot of conversation around the Bulls have a roster flaw because they don't have a star level talent. And I have fought back on the sense that you can be a playoff team without stars, right? But you have to be a well-constructed team, a well-coached team, and you have to play connected as a team. The way that the Bulls were playing at the beginning of the season, that's the type of play, that's the type of team that can be a playoff team without having a true star on it, right? Now, Josh Giddey is putting up all-star numbers. Coby White, the Bulls are hoping that Coby White can be an all-star at some point in time, right? But the thing that you look at when you've seen, like I said, only a couple of the losses I've looked at and say the Bulls just got out-talented, right? That was against the Spurs with Wemby. That was against the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis down the stretches of those games. And other than that, it just really seems like it's an effort and compete thing, right? Now, AK's roster philosophy, as far as 9 to 10 very good players, right? How far can you get with that philosophy? I mean, I think if you have the perfect team and really good coaching and a system, maybe you can get to, at most, maybe close to a conference finals. Now, this team seems very far off from that, so we're not even at the point of having that conversation yet at all, right? Now, the thing with this, as well as in the evaluation, when we hear that the Bulls don't want to come off their core, right? You got to make sure that you have a core that's worth building, right? And right now, the theory of 9 to 10 really good players is not working. Now, with that said, we have a lot of players that are out as well. But, okay, you have Kobe, you have Giddey. Let's just say that that's your backcourt, right? And you have the hope that Modest Buzelis can develop into a star. Right now, he just looks like a solid player, right, in the second year. But then again, like I said, his second year isn't nearly as bad as Ayo Dosunmu's second year. Like, it's just not nearly as bad, right? But the Modest Buzelis has not arrived yet. Despite me and some other Bulls fans hoping in the early season stretch for Modest, he's not arrived yet. You have to be consistent to arrive, and he's not that. Right now, he has refined some things in his game, and it's good to see. We've had a pretty nice stretch of good Modest Buzelis basketball. Not to say that there aren't times where defensively he kind of goes away at times. There is that, and he needs to work on that consistency part of that game. But Modest Buzelis has strung together a few good games statistically, at least, right? But even with that said, we know that we need to see better from Modest. So far through the month of December, right? 4 games played so far. He's averaging 17.5 points, 50% shooting from the field, only 25% shooting from 3, 6 rebounds, 1.3 blocks, and almost 2 steals per game. So, again, he's better. The month of November was really rough for him, right? So we'll see how this month finishes. But the Bulls, of course, hope that Modest Buzelis is going to turn into that star-level player. He has a lot left to prove before we can say that for sure, right? So they're going to have to get that together. And then also the drafting philosophy is going to have to change. Like, at some point, you have to stop drafting projects, and you have to start drafting, even if their ceiling's a little bit lower, you have to start drafting players with high floors. That's something that we see is sustained success over the NBA, as well as when you do, like, sometimes you just need that guy with a high floor. And the Bulls haven't really gone for that yet. They keep going for these project picks, which are fine, right? And these guys that have to develop a lot of skill. And, that gets you to, like, the Derik Queen conversation, right? There's a lot of people that want to talk about it. And while I get it, Derik Queen and seeing him have the run that he's having is really good. But you don't draft just for the now, right? You do draft for the future, but then again, that goes back to the conversation on high floor, right? Now, Derik Queen is really good, and there was questions about Derik Queen and his fit with this Bulls team, with how much ball dominant he's going to be. The Queen that we're seeing with the Pelicans is not the Queen that we'd see with the Chicago Bulls, just by the nature of how the team is constructed. But I understand the fans that look at this and say, damn, we passed on Derik Queen, and we have this rookie now, Noah Essengay, that season just ended, and we don't exactly know what he's going to be, right? But, Derik Queen, for what it's worth, the month of December, 13 points per game. He has had a rough couple of games, but I think, last couple of games, Derik Queen is a good player. Just make no mistake about it. Derik Queen's a good player. And for a franchise that's already thirsty, it's so difficult to ask those fans to say, hey, you see that player that's playing good right now over there? Oh, man, but we got this young guy that could be good in 2 or 3 years. Now, there's still a world in which Noah Essengay could be better than Derik Queen in the long run. Like I said this before, look at how many players look better than Joakim Noah after his rookie year, maybe even after his first 2 years, right? Look at how many players in Jimmy Butler's draft class look better than Jimmy Butler after his first 2 years in the league, right? We've had those guys on this team, right? Like, we've seen that before. But at the same time, I get it. Bulls fans are thirsty right now, and they should be. We should be. Let me even say thirsty. We're hungry, right? We're not thirsty. We're hungry. And so, you have the right to say that. So things have to change in this front office, but it really is starting to feel like something is going on behind the scenes in Chicago that we are not privy to, that is hurting, limiting, and affecting the mindset, the philosophy, everything about this team right now. And you have to clear the cancer out. You have to tear that cancer out, unrooted, get it up off your team, and find your path as a franchise. And for the people that doubt if the Bulls are going to be able to do that, I wish I could tell you not to, but I can't, because, again, we're seeing the roots and we're seeing the cause of that. So when you look at it, not having a star on the roster is causing fans right concern about exactly where we're going, right? The missed draft opportunities. Even if you want to say right now, let's wait and see with Noah. But hell, even if you look at Dalen Terry instead of Walker, all the players you could have had instead of, look at all the players that went after P. Will, where we drafted P. Will, like those 2 drafts alone, right? Julian Phillips was a second-round pick. Not going to hold him against that. Io was a second-round pick. He's been great as a second-round pick. Miles Buzelis is a good basketball player with still tons of potential, still very young. But just those P. Will and Dalen Terry drafts alone could completely change where your franchise is at right now. And that's something that the front office has to take accountability for and really look at it to see where you're going to get as a team. And I guess we shall see where that's going to lead this Bulls team and if they can come out of it, because if they can, great. If not, hey, some heads have to roll at some point in time. And it can't just be your players. It can't be, at least not in my opinion. But you guys can let me know how you feel down below. With that said, we got 2 voicemails that were left kind of mid last week that I want to get into. This first one, this one that we have is from Ace.
What's up, Haize? It's Ace. I ain't called in a minute, but I just had to vent for a little bit. I'm figuring out some things about this Bulls team. I know injuries are playing a huge part. We're missing some key players. I can't wait till Zach Collins comes back, for one. But I'm noticing a few things. The first thing I'm noticing is that Patrick Williams is actually Dickie Simpkins in disguise. He's Dickie Simpkins. Patrick Williams is Dickie Simpkins. Trust me. That's what he plays like. He's fucking trash. Second thing, Nikola Vucevic doesn't guard any fucking body. Like, I don't give a fuck what he gets. I don't care how many double-doubles he gets. He's trash because he can't guard anybody. He hurts us more on the defensive end than he does anything. Start Zach Collins. I've been saying this shit for years. I don't care. Put Zach Collins in the game. Trade Vooch. Do something. He hit a few buckets here and there, but it doesn't make up for what he does on the defensive end. It's horrible. I like Dalen Terry. I like the energy. I'm going to leave it there. I don't know if Io's been sick, but they need to put the ball in his hands more often in transition, because that's the only time he really scores. It seems like he can't score off the dribble unless he's in transition. Josh Giddey is earning his check. He's earning his check, loving what I'm seeing. Not the best defender, but he does enough to get by, so I'm not mad at that. I don't know what's going on with Coby White. He's in and out, takes some bad shots, but I just think that he just needs to get back in the groove of things. But I don't know. This Bulls team, I thought they were good. I know injuries is playing a huge part in this. I think we need to get a defensive big that's taller than 6'10". But this is frustrating. But one of the things we need to do is we need to make a trade and get rid of Vooch. I don't care what nobody says. Get rid of Vooch, get rid of Dickie Simpkins, and I think we'll be all right.
Patrick Williams being Dickie Simpkins is hilarious, by the way. I just want to let you know that that's hilarious. So Vooch doesn't guard space well. And by that, I don't mean he doesn't guard in space well. I mean, like, he doesn't guard space, like actual, like a ghost. He doesn't guard that well at all. And despite starting off the season actually on a pretty solid defensive footing, if you go and look through the first 4 or 5 games of the season, Nikola Vucevic was a damn good defensively as far as rotationally, those type of things. And it's fallen off offensively. It's fallen off defensively for him. Vooch is just a bad basketball player right now. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's fallen off completely, right? So the problem, though, then, and I know the common thought is, let's just get rid of Vooch. You would have to give up a pick to get rid of Vooch with how bad he's playing right now. So when people ask things like, why is Vooch still on the team then? Yeah, it's not as simple as just getting rid of somebody that you don't want and that's playing bad. That's actually difficult. That actually costs you assets. And that's why the Bulls are, I'm sure, hoping that Vooch plays better leading into the trade deadline, or somebody wants to take a shot at him. But it is what it is. Vooch is most likely staying put. That's just the reality of it. And yeah, we'll see if the Bulls can find a center of the future, because we drastically need that. Let's get into the last voicemail for today. This one's from Immortal Beast.
Your Haize is Immortal Beast. Just to be completely honest, it's frustrating watching this team right now. Based on what the Bulls could basically say, this is just the easiest stretch you could ever have during the season. And you completely fucked it up. Honestly, here's the theory. A couple years back, we had these results with a much older roster, with ball-dominant players like Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. And it understood that the pace was going to be slowed down. It looked like the team didn't have any heart at times. It looked like they would always play down in competition. Now let's fast forward to this season right here, where you could really have the best start to any season in regards to the Chicago Bulls. And somehow, just 20 games into the season already, we're seeing the same issues in regards to this team with a much younger roster. And the only thing that stood the same was the head coach position. Another 5-game losing streak, and you lost to basically 4 of the worst teams in the NBA right now, with Billy Donovan as your head coach. Something has to be happening outside the court that nobody is talking about in regards to the Bulls. But regardless, you can't sit there and tell me that Billy Donovan should keep his job after this stretch of games. He shouldn't even be fired by the end of the season. I feel like he should be fired right now, because the change is needed and it's necessary at this point. But since season, we have seen these results, and it hasn't gotten better. Overall, those are my thoughts. Just tell me what you think, Haize. Peace out.
The Bulls have had a 5-game losing streak. They've had a 7-game losing streak. They've lost. They've lost a lot, and they've lost consistently. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon with the way that this team's playing. Unfortunately, I wish I could tell you that it is, but it doesn't look like it will, because the Bulls suck ass. And so as things stand right now, like this front office is so attached to Billy Donovan, I just don't know if they even will consider firing Billy Donovan, whereas other franchises would. And that's a short sight of your team when your front office is just like, oh no, yeah, of course we're not firing Billy. Look at the fucking results, bruh. But that's just where we are right now, right? I think a 5-game losing streak, a 7-game losing streak, and this 7-game losing streak hasn't stopped yet. Those almost alone would be fireable offenses for some franchises. For the Bulls, they look at it and say, that Billy, though, continuity. We appreciate the fact that he's collaborative with us. it just really sucks where we are right now as a franchise. But I guess we'll see what comes out of that. If the Bulls wake up at some point, hopefully they do, because we deserve better as Bulls fans. And I wish I could tell you it's coming and we're going to get it soon, but I honestly don't know. But that's my time, and I appreciate y'all for rocking with me as always, especially how much you guys have supported even during this rush stretch as a team. But as y'all know, we don't run from smoke here, and this show is going to stay daily. It's not going anywhere. But I want to hear your thoughts down below. Should the Bulls completely reset? How do you feel about this core and the confidence level, especially based off this? And what would you do at the trade deadline if you were the Chicago Bulls? Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe as well. You guys can follow us at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.